Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, a spirit medium and a storyteller for the ghosts. Dear listener, it is officially spooky season. Happy October. I'm here to crank up the creepy with tales of mysterious staircases in the woods. And as a paranormal podcast listener, if you also peruse the true crime shows, tonight you may recognize my guest, Cam, from our true crime podcast, as she joins me for an in-studio spirit reading. What will the spirits say to her? And later, what will the spirits have to say to you? Join me around my seance table whilst I call a departed spirit close for someone listening to the podcast tonight. And since you're attending, this message may be for you. That's later on in the podcast. But first, mind your step. We're venturing into the forest to explore creepy staircases. I have tried to block this memory from my mind due to the nerve-wracking experience. About a year ago, I was backpacking across Yellowstone National Park along with 3 of my friends. We were hiking on the Mount Washburn Spur Trail, where another hiker had recently mysteriously disappeared. We were probably 4 miles into the trail when we decided to venture off. We walked around half a mile off course. John wanted to take a bathroom break, and he wandered off to find a tree. My 2 other friends and I heard him call out, so we rushed over. We asked if he was okay, and he said, "Yeah, but look." Standing before us about 15 yards away was an almost immaculate white staircase. All 4 of us wanted to immediately investigate the odd staircase in the middle of nowhere, in the woods. Despite it being clear and blue skies, as we approached it, the world around us turned dark and gloomy. We stood at the base of the stairs, gazing up towards the top. It led upwards about 30 steps. We decided that 2 of us should go up and 2 stay down. I unfortunately agreed to go up with John, and we told Hunter and Cody to stay put and keep watch. John and I ascended the stairs. The lush and vibrant forest turned creepy and dark. We looked behind us and could see our friends, so we continued ascending. When we reached the small platform at the top, we were practically holding each other due to the atmosphere. We looked around and saw nothing odd until we looked into the trees. There, we saw what looked like creatures straight out of hell. Red eyes, long limbs, with twisted and distorted faces. One creature saw us and let out the most horrific, ear-piercing scream. John and I snapped out of our trance and bolted down the stairs. When we reached the bottom, our friends were panic-stricken. Hunter said, "You've been gone for 2.5 hours. Once you turned back around on the stairs and went up, you vanished." We told them we were only up there 10 minutes. Cody looked at his watch and then at mine. There was in fact a 2.5-hour difference between our watches. My friends and I rarely speak of this traumatic encounter. I don't know what to think, but I'm sure the stairs and the man that went missing are connected. My family and I took a vacation. We had a cabin and spent time enjoying each other's company. One afternoon, we were walking through a wooded area, and the kids were slightly in front of my wife and I. They suddenly stopped and began pointing. We hurried to catch up and see what they were looking at. There was an open space and a full set of stairs standing as though they led somewhere. These weren't outside steps you sometimes find on nature trails. These stairs were like the ones you would find inside a house. They had a wooden banister on either side. We wondered if they had belonged to a house that had worn away around it, leaving only the stairs, but there was no sign of anything. No broken wood, no foundation, nothing. But seeing it out in the woods, far from anywhere, just seemed and felt strange. I did not let the kids climb them. For one, I was afraid the stairs might not hold the weight. We continued the walk and didn't think much of it. After that vacation, my younger son began to have night terrors. Years later, there started to be more awareness and creepy tales around staircases in the woods, and I questioned what we actually saw. And if the kids had climbed them, what would have happened? I do wonder if the night terrors were at all related. I have traveled back to that area out of curiosity that I couldn't help, and I've been through the woods there, but I can't find any sign of those stairs. I'm still quite an avid Pokemon Go player, even though it's not as popular anymore. I always loved how it takes you from place to place, discovering new areas. I went to go for a walk with a friend in a local park, and the park was surrounded by dense trees that I had never thought to go into before. After about a half hour of exploring, we were quite deep into the woods and realized we were lost. I wasn't too worried. We still had a pretty strong phone signal, and it was midday. I was looking down at my phone, talking to my friend. He really wasn't replying, so I thought something must be up. I turned to look at him, and I was alarmed to see that he was crying. I started to panic, and I asked what's wrong. He said, "There's some stairs behind you. I can see them behind you. I know it's ridiculous, but it's scaring me." I sort of laughed, like I was being pranked, but I knew he wasn't lying. I turned to see a staircase. I became immensely curious, and I told him to wait there. He kept telling me not to go near them. I was trying to show him that there was nothing wrong with it. I thought the stairs were strange, but not a threat. I approached them and climbed up. There were about 8 wooden steps. They were similar to ones you'd find in an ordinary house, although slightly narrower. The weirdest thing was, they were really clean. When I was at the top, my head felt a bit funny. I experienced the same feeling I get standing up too quickly. It felt like I was floating and that the stairs weren't there. I remember turning around as if floating and looking at the whole forest. Then I saw what looked like a pale human being that had multiple spider-like legs climb onto a tree, and it was peering around, looking directly at me with pure black eyes. The next thing I knew, I was on the ground, lying a few feet away from the stairs. I rushed back to my friend who had been shouting for me to come back. He knew, on seeing my expression, that something was wrong. We ran and luckily managed to find our way out. My friend doesn't want to talk about that day, and I feel really strange about the event. I don't feel scared. It just feels like I experienced sleep paralysis. But that's the only way I can process it. Hello, my dear spooky friend. Do you have a paranormal experience you would like to share? Submit your ghost stories to be read on this podcast. I love sharing true ghost stories, and yours could be among them. Email me your story at speaknow@italktoghosts.com. Let's be spooky together. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. My guest this evening is Cam. Cam, welcome to the podcast. Welcome to your reading. How are you doing?
I am so excited. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
I love it when people are excited because, I don't know, there's something about enthusiastic energy that really pulls it in and just, it really helps. It makes things vibrate, you know?
I have been waiting for this all day. This is the highlight of my day, probably my week. All my work friends know that this is happening too. So they're like, we can't wait to talk to you on Monday.
No pressure. No pressure. So I was getting a father-grandfather energy. Mm-hmm. He didn't seem to like the word grandfather. He didn't want me to write grandfather, like mm-hmm. It was too formal. Mm-hmm. But your dad passed away?
He did. 3 years ago, August, I believe 3 years ago.
He is coming in with a lot of kind of easygoing, hey, what's going on type of energy.
That would be him. He's a
very
little goofy.
Kind of casual. He's kind of like, what's going on? And like I see him in, it's funny you're wearing a hoodie. I feel like he would be comfortable in a hoodie as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. All right. Did you ask him to show up?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I don't think. Maybe.
Normally,
subconsciously, maybe I did.
Okay, because normally when someone comes in, boom, just like that, it's because my sitter has asked them to, but maybe he's just here for you. He's definitely coming in with a lot of loving energy, bear hug type of kind of practical man, casual guy.
Yes.
Was he into sports?
Yes, very much so. St. Louis Cardinals football, Mizzou football. Yep.
He's like, shout out.
Yep, totally.
Okay. Did he wear glasses? I'm kind of.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's coming in. Wow, this is so nice. He's a very reassuring person. It's nice to feel. He is apologizing for the hole this is left in your heart. And in your family's collective heart, his passing. Mm-hmm. I think that he really cares about just how everyone feels, how everyone's doing, and obviously wants to say that he is okay. I mean, it's apparent. If he can talk to me, he can talk to everyone. I don't know if you know this about him. This is a really weird, particular little thing and it's funny, details can come in and you have no idea what the significance is or not. Mm-hmm. Did he always use the same soap like Irish Spring or something like that.
That was in my head just now, I swear to you, because I
No, I
do
get
as a little girl. So my parents are divorced, but as a little
Mhm.
girl, I remember that.
Yes.
And
Like it was like you would know this.
that particular Irish Spring, swear to goodness.
No,
Whoa, I gotta
I
write
get
that
it.
down.
I get it. I absolutely get it. Did he teach you how to ride a bike? I'm seeing you on a bike rather little, but this almost seems like a tricycle type, like that young, with your feet up in the air, kind of just having fun. Did you have a slopey driveway or live by a hill?
Lots of hills. Like our street was flat, but the house was on a giant hill, but grass, but up above, we had a sidewalk that came from the street above down to our street, and it was a sidewalk, and we'd all take our bikes and go whoosh down
Okay,
there.
so that's
Yeah.
what I'm seeing, like the woo
Yeah.
going on. I think he worried about that a little bit, but he's like, oh, kids.
I was the third, so he was probably like, well, we've made it this far. We're okay. Right?
The others survived the lawn darts. It'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
The theme of water did come up a little bit. I don't know what to connect it to. I don't like to guess. It felt like a pool.
He had some ponds behind his house after my mom and him divorced, but he got with my stepmom when I was only 12. So we would go fishing all the time out there.
Okay.
And then I took my kids out there too.
He's bringing up mosquitoes.
We got eaten alive by mosquitoes at his house all the time, so we'd always have to spray down.
Yeah. When you're talking about the ponds on his properties, like the mosquitoes were a big deal.
Yeah, they are. And chiggers. We always had to have, my sister would get eaten alive by them. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Dogs, did he have dogs?
Yes. He loved animals.
Dogs licking the face is like
Yep.
very friendly dogs, like on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he always, I think he had dogs his whole life.
He was showing me the sense of fairness that he had within him, that he really cared that everything was fair, kind of like a moral compass type of personality. I wouldn't be surprised if he would have been a good lawyer.
I laugh because he'd be right up his alley. He likes to argue, but he was always very tenderhearted. So that's why he loved animals and babies and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like he had a sense of what was right, and but not the type of lawyer who is like, a shark.
Yeah,
more of just it would have been good for him. That was a really good that would have been a good lineup with his personality.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting teacher vibes. You mentioned you're a teacher.
I'm a teacher.
Okay. Is Halloween a big deal for you?
It's my favorite holiday ever.
Do you your spirituality, I feel like crystals and stuff is cool, but you also kind of feel like, oh, that's silly.
I do, but I respect it. It's okay. Like, I respect that. It's fine. It just doesn't, yeah.
Right? It's almost like you're like, but no.
Yeah, it's kind of a rock, but that's okay. That's okay. If you're into that, I support you 100%.
Yeah. It's just funny. Things that I was just picking up. Was there at any point, was there some kind of inflatable raft or something?
When I was a kid for Christmas one year, this is funny, and I've never seen it before. I Googled it once because it'll pop in my head. It's a giant, like a 18-wheeler tire, but the inner tube that goes in it, and then they strap stuff on it. But my mom got it at a discount, so it was sideways. So one side was like this big, and then the other side was this big. But so it was like a sort of like an in-house trampoline kind of thing.
Oh, crazy!
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of raft-wise. But yeah,
it just seemed like what is this thing?
And that's
I don't. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me see. What else does he want to say for you? I feel like he really instilled the philosophy that everyone has something to share, like their talents, their personality, their soul, and that he still wants to encourage you to shine as much as possible.
Yep, I believe that.
He just sees you as the star.
Because I am. I like to think I'm funny, and that I got that from my dad because my dad was a goofy, dumb funny, and that's how I am too. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's bragging about that a little bit.
Yeah, he did. I mean, my nickname as a little kid, and I think about this, and I grew up with it, so I didn't think it was weird, but it was thermoid pea water. What's that mean? I don't know, but he would always give people nicknames. So that was my nickname, and I grew up kind of thinking that was normal. And then as I got older, I'm like, what? What did you call me? So yeah, that was his personality.
Oh my gosh. That's how he was coming in, kind of like tossing his elbows a little bit, like a little bit of a little funny walk type of thing.
He was just goofy. He was goofy. He would just make those really dumb dad jokes before dad jokes were a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it just make you laugh.
He's kind of talking about his parents a little bit. Were they more on the harsher side of things?
That's a whole can to unfold there.
Sure.
I wouldn't say harsh. I would say, I don't know exactly what I can and can't say.
That's okay.
Abusive. He was the only boy, and he had two sisters.
When we're talking about his sense of humor, he's like, this is where I got my sense of humor. Because not only is it helpful, but it's also where he wanted to view things in life. You know, like that's the mindset he wanted to have.
I never thought about that, but that totally makes sense.
His sense of humor, it was a point of protection for him, and that it kept him safe. It was his bubble. And also, as he moved past that, he realized how important humor and joy is in life, and to share it with people, to be able to make someone laugh.
Yes, he loved that.
Was just so important to him, because there are so many harmful things you can do to someone instead, you know, but to love someone and to give them joy and give them humor was just something he lived his life by. He really did. It was very important to him.
Yes, I would agree.
What a great guy.
He's something. we still talk about this stuff. Yeah, there you go.
One of a kind. He's bringing up what's the Heinz
57?
Yeah, he's calling himself the Heinz 57. Like, I don't know why he's bringing that up.
Oh my gosh. He loves ketchup. Loves ketchup. I love ketchup. It was a thing. Like, we eat ketchup on everything. That just gave me the goosebumps, because he would eat, I mean, he taught me, like, we eat ketchup on our chicken. We eat ketchup on onions. We eat ketchup. I love ketchup. So that's weird. Oh, wow.
That's what he's showing me. Yeah. That's so wonderful. Was there anyone else you were hoping would come through today? Your dad's kind of hogging the stage a little bit, but I love it.
Poor thing. He misses us.
Yes.
My sister passed.
Okay.
I don't know how much information you want me to give.
No. Was she someone who, how do I put this?
You put it any way you want.
Okay. She had many sides to her personality, and some of them she kept really hidden.
Yes, totally.
Did she have anxiety?
I think she did, but it came across differently. Like, she always wanted to be an actress. She drank a lot, but I think a lot of that was hidden, and we didn't know that, because as you grow up, you don't see all that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some heaviness. There's some density there.
Yes.
But I don't want you to think she's that way now, but she has to identify herself that way. Yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't know it's her. Let me see. She was a little unconventional?
Very.
Okay.
To say the least. Yes.
I'm always so delicate when I start asking questions.
You do not have to be. She prided herself on that, so.
Yeah. She's showing me you couldn't hold her down if you wanted to. She wanted to be everywhere at once.
Yes. Okay. Extremely social. We used to laugh and say she had narcolepsy, but I think it was just because she could never say no to a party, an event, ever. So she would fall asleep anywhere.
Did you guys ever make like blanket forts or something when you were younger?
I did, but not really with her. Both my sisters were a lot older than me.
Okay.
So I didn't even really get close to her till I was older.
Okay. And she's probably just showing me that she remembers you doing that.
Yeah.
I feel like overwhelm was a big deal to her, and she wants to pass along to you, the less worry or the less overwhelm or overthinking you can have in your life, the better.
Yeah. She didn't stress about anything. She was late to every single thing always. Right.
Oh,
So she was more that way.
Okay. That's the whole don't worry thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Totally.
Okay.
She was the one that said, if it's my day off, why do I have to be somewhere at a certain time? It's my day off. Well, because everybody else, Allison, is waiting for you. That's why, sister.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think everyone would like to adopt that mentality. Just a little bit in life, a little less worry, just do, and it'll fall into place if it's meant to, Okay. All right. I do have a couple messages that I want to give you. And I think this makes sense that this part came from your sister, that the world is your playground is what she's saying. And that sense of it, just doing everything and soaking up as much as you can. The world is your playground. Reach for new things, even if you don't feel like you're lacking. There's always something else out there.
Yep. That sounds like her.
Enjoy everything you can is what they're just embrace it, enjoy it, grab it, keep it close, and to keep going. Just keep going. And I'm feeling this sense of pride for you, so that they just. Have you traveled a lot?
Yes.
Yeah. Just this sense of keep going, keep doing things, keep experiencing, because that's what we're here for. Yeah. And I think they just want to encourage that as much as possible right now in this phase of your life.
I like that.
Yeah, that resonates for you right now.
Yeah. It's true. And that would be her too. So
wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Cam, for meeting with me today. I met with your partner, Jen. You guys have a podcast together. Do you want to plug it? Let us all know what it is.
Well, Jen and I host a true crime podcast called Our True Crime Podcast Original. I don't know if she explained the name of that, but
yes,
we didn't know what else to call it. And after months of calling it, what are we going to call Our True Crime Podcast? We decided, hey, let's just call it that. And we have been going 5 years strong. We have a lot of episodes. The beginning's a little rough. I mean, you have a podcast. Everybody thinks this looks a lot easier than it really is.
You learn by doing.
You do. And then when somebody calls you out, which they like to do. But check us out. It's, it's a labor of love, but it's, and Jen and I, we've been best friends since we were 12. We met in 6th grade. So, and now we're, 20 something, wink, wink. We're not 20 something. So we've been around for a long time.
And you're on all the popular podcast apps. And
you can catch us on all your favorite podcatchers, Spotify, Apple, you name it. We're there.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
No, thank you. This was so fun.
And before you go, do you have a personal ghost story you'd like to share?
Well, funny you say that.
Listener ghost story.
So about 1.5 years ago, we moved into this house, and this house was built in 1947. And I'm one of those, probably similar to yourself. Like, I want this stuff to happen to me, and I can't. And I've had deep thoughts, deep conversations with myself saying, what am I doing wrong? Like, why doesn't something come out? So we move in here, and it is an old house. It's mostly all original. Minus some terrible updates, but that's another story. So I order groceries, and this lady comes in, and she's like, hi, so how long have you been here? And I'm like, oh, we just moved in last week. And she's like, oh, do you like it? I'm like, well, yeah, I love the neighborhood. It's really cute. She's like, anything happen? So then I was like, what do you mean anything? And I laughed. I go, what do you mean it's haunted? And she kind of smiled, and then she got serious, and she's like, it is haunted. I'm like, what? And so then I was like, oh, okay. So I laughed, and I called Jen, and I called my friends, and I was like, you wouldn't believe this. Seriously, 2 weeks later, get groceries. A guy comes in. He's like, anything happen? You're like, I used to live here. I'm like, what? And he goes, the cabinet door's open all the time. Eleanor? You've not met Eleanor? I'm like, no. What are you talking about? And he's like, there's a ghost that lives there. Her name's Eleanor. She died of cancer, and I guess her husband was a little abusive. That's what he tells me. And they pretty much locked her to one of the back bedrooms. Actually, it's the one I'm in right now. When she was dying, I guess. And I said, no, I haven't, nothing. No cabinets? No. And he's like, well, she must really like you. So I do have to say, sometimes, like when things are, I'm like, Eleanor, help me work this out. But no, I haven't seen anything. There was a loaf of bread that went missing, I swear, and my daughter can attest to that. But other than that, nothing. So I don't know. I'm open to it, but so far, nothing.
That's fascinating. Do you think the first woman who asked you, she knew about the property too, or was she just sensing something as she walked up?
I don't know, because I laugh, because of course I said, what is it, haunted? Because it was just a weird question when the grocery person said, anything happen? Well, we moved in. What do you mean anything happened? No. And I just kind of got that. I don't know. When somebody's talking to you and you kind of get a weird vibe. And I said, is it haunted? And then I did talk to the neighbor down the street, and he said the same thing, because he said, like, people come and go a lot in this house. Like every year and a half it's up for sale. But we've been here a year and a half and nothing's happened. So
yeah, I like your theory that you're in harmony with it.
I do. And I ask her for help because can't hurt, right? And I'm sure she was a nice person.
Yeah.
I hope.
I really do love that, because, if anyone else who was in the house, what was their attitude? I'm pretty sure they weren't asking her for help, and she probably just loves that energy,
The guy said that his wife would be cooking. And so then I'm like, I'll turn around and be like, where's the pepper? So he said she'd be cooking, and she'd turn around to like get a dish and come back and the cabinets would be open. And I'm like, no. And he's like, so you haven't missed like a pepper shaker or salt shaker? It hasn't like moved across? And I'm like, no, not that I've noticed. But I'm kind of like, unless I'm not paying attention. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's why ghosts they don't come and see me. Maybe they do and I don't pick up on it. I don't know. But I want to pick up on it. So Eleanor, if you're out there, come visit. We can have some coffee or something. It'd be fun. Just saying.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm a dork.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. This is so fun.
I've enjoyed it so much too. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Would you like a free spirit reading with me and record your reading for the podcast? Sign up for your chance to be selected by visiting italktoghosts.com/guest. And as an added bonus, if you don't want to leave your reading up to chance, I'll let you in on a secret. There's a discount offer to book a private session with me, so you can book a date and time for certain. Visit italktoghosts.com/guest for more details. I can't wait to meet you. Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. I have a message from the spirits this evening. So thank you for joining me in the candlelight. Tonight I will be working with moonstone. I have this lovely moonstone tower, and moonstone is wonderful for enhancing intuition. So that's why I like to keep it close sometimes while doing spirit work. I've grounded and centered. I have a spirit with me. I can smell Windex. She's showing me she owned a cleaning business, and she was really good at it. Tireless worker, and had a wonderful sense of humor too. Definitely getting nurturing mother vibes. I think she wants to reach out to her son. She used to cook for you a lot. Just so comforting. You miss her this time of year because the holidays are coming up, and she would always cook the big meals. She's showing me some of her physical features. She was a petite woman, dark, medium, short, curly hair. She is saying that eventually her back really did start to bother her. She used to read a lot of magazines. And you would tease her about this, about all the gossip kind of celebrity stories that she would follow. She said that reading those were better than soap operas. Her message for you this evening is, she's saying you should have more confidence and be adventurous. Get out there a little bit. Have fun. I wonder if you mountain bike. because she's showing me that, but she's like, no, that's not what I mean. I mean getting out there and just believing in yourself. Confidence in self is what she wants to just instill with you. In a very loving, joking way, she's saying you need more friends than just your dog. But it does sound like you have a really lovely dog. So yeah, she just wants you to be a little more social and to get out there a little bit. And if you have an idea about anything, use that imagination to see how it would work instead of how it wouldn't work. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Oh, I see you writing, note-taking in a notebook. It feels like you have a lot of ideas and maybe even aspire to be a writer. So explore that a little bit more. Don't talk yourself out of it. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. If this message connects for you, please let me know. Please reach out. I would love to know. Thank you. Listen to I Talk to Ghosts for an atmospheric chill and to never feel alone, knowing the spirits are always around you. The autumn months are the perfect time to share and recommend this podcast to your ghoulish friends. Thank you for supporting the show and sharing the spooky. And with that, dear listener, we've reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you've enjoyed the spirit work that I shared with you this evening, as well as those tales of mysterious staircases in the woods. Have you ever had an experience such as that? I would love to hear about it. And when you're done being spooked here, head on over to our True Crime podcast and join Jen and Cam as they explore stories of true crime, creepy stuff. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to, in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.